All right, well, crypto enthusiasts are focusing in on Afghanistan amid plenty of instability around the country. Many people in the space are taking to social media to urge Afghans to adopt Bitcoin at a time when there is considerable economic uncertainty in the region. Cheddar's Alex Vuocolo has been following this development, and he joins me now. Alex, it's good to see you. Help me understand what is going on in Afghanistan's economy right now, so much so that this is being considered.
Hey, Kristen. So it's hard to understate how quickly and dramatically Afghanistan's economy has basically ground to a halt. Prices for basic goods such as flour and fuel are surging, banks remain shut down, government salaries are unpaid, and behind all this is the fact that Afghanistan is effectively being cut off from the global economy. The country no longer has access to its $9 billion in reserves, which are currently frozen in foreign banks, and international agencies such as the IMF and World Bank have halted all loans and aid for the foreseeable future. This is particularly devastating for a country like Afghanistan because foreign aid accounts for 40% of GDP and 75% of government spending, according to the World Bank. On top of that, the Afghan economy completely relies on U.S. dollars to backstop the local Afghani currency. And as of about 2 weeks ago, the U.S. Treasury and New York Federal Reserve halted new shipments of dollars. What does this mean on the ground? The key takeaway here is that the Afghan economy and U.S. economy have been deeply entangled for the last 2 decades, and now, for the first time, it's standing on its own. So much depends on how the Taliban navigates through this brave new world economically.
Yeah, a lot of questions, I think, that do still remain here, Alex. So given the situation, what is the basic argument for increasing Bitcoin adoption at such a sensitive time for this economy?
So it's worth noting that first, that according to Chainalysis' 2021 Global Crypto Adoption Index, which measures overall crypto adoption, Afghanistan is currently ranked 20th out of 154 countries. That's compared to last year's index when the country didn't even crack the list. So adoption is definitely on the rise, but for crypto maximalists, this is just the beginning. In their view, they'd like to see Bitcoin become the de facto currency of exchange in the country, in effect replacing the Afghani. Their basic argument goes that Bitcoin would allow Afghans to avoid the kind of hyperinflation that they see as all but inevitable given the Taliban's takeover. They also argue that it would allow people to transact globally while traditional payment rails, such as Western Union, are suspended in the country.
Mm-hmm. Now, some analysts, however, Alex, is my understanding, are skeptical that Bitcoin could make a meaningful impact on the country's economic challenges, as you just outlined. Break down the case against Afghans jumping into cryptocurrency.
So one of the more blunt criticisms of the Bitcoin maximalists is that they're being unrealistic about the feasibility of increasing Bitcoin adoption given the lack of internet access in the country. Again, according to the World Bank, just 13% of Afghans have access to the internet, which obviously presents a problem if you're trying to transact with a digital currency. That infrastructural issue aside, there's the deeper question of whether it would even be wise for Afghans to gamble on a currency that has fluctuated in value significantly over the past year. As one analyst I spoke to pointed out, no inflation hedge is perfect, let alone Bitcoin, which lost 50% of its value last spring before resuming its upward climb. For savvy investors, those kinds of jumps and dips are manageable, especially if Bitcoin remains only a percentage of their portfolio. But for Afghans trying to figure out a new normal where they can hopefully buy and sell basic goods with a steady and reliable currency, the value proposition for Bitcoin is a lot more uncertain.
Alex Vuocolo, really interesting report there. Thank you.